Well, good morning, workplace warriors, and happy Friday. Welcome to another Workplace Warrior Friday morning live. I hope your work week has been going well and that feel you're feeling healthy and wise and ready to have a discussion about an HR related article. I apologize, I'm 15 minutes late today. I overslept. I'm beginning to think that maybe I might change these Friday morning lives to 7:30 because it seems like I can't get up on Fridays after a long 4 days of work. The rest of the week, it seems like it's a struggle to get up on Friday mornings. So we'll see. We'll keep it as it is for right now, and we'll see what the future holds. So today we're going to look at an article from the All Things Work section of the SHRM HR Quarterly. Um, Magazine, and I don't know if you, oh, well, you can see it, but this is the magazine that those of us who are members of the Society for Human Resources Management, which is what SHRM stands for, um, this is the magazine that we get every quarter. And so this article caught my attention because I know that I have been impacted by this, and I know that there are so many others who have been impacted by it, so much so that it's made it as discussions on morning TV like Good Morning America and local news outlets as well, and also talk shows and other things, and that is working while you're on vacation. And this title says on vacation and on call. And, with all of the talk about self care and protecting our peace and being able to avoid burnout, which a lot of people are currently facing, um, or recovering from burnout. If you have already experienced that, which I have experienced burnout, it was December of 2023. I realized that I had gotten burnt out because I was carrying since COVID, when we went full time remote, I have been carrying an excessively long schedule. I was sitting too long, and which I still sit too long, but I'm becoming more conscious of that. And even when I'm working on the days that I work from home, I make sure that I get up and walk around. The days that I work from the office, I try to do the same thing as well because it doesn't matter the location, it's the workload and keeping my focus on what I'm working on. And then also in the office, I don't know about you all, if you all work an office job, if you can identify to this, getting people just popping in to your work area, to your office or your cubicle or wherever your work area is without an appointment. And so many people tend to do that. And, it can be quite annoying because it can break your concentration on what you're working on, and then it could be difficult to get that concentration back. Or once one interruption comes, then here comes another one. Is not a surprise if another interruption comes, and it just kind of refocuses your day and keeps you from being able to get things done that you planned on getting done, that you knew you have a certain deadline for. So, you know, just thinking about some of those things and trying to figure out how we can continue to serve those who we serve, provide them with quality service, because our colleagues, our immediate colleagues on our teams, and our those who we report to, they are really our first customers, and so we have to remember that. And so just trying to figure out how we can continue to provide quality service to them, as well as our official customers or clients, but then also look out for our mental health, continue to protect our mental health, and avoid burnout and just the overall stress that exists across much of today's job market, active working labor force. Um, because it's a real thing. Burnout is real. And I used to, question it a little bit until I realized that I had been, that I was in the middle of it. And I knew immediately that I had to make some adjustments so that I could continue to be productive and viable to my team and to my organization's mission. So let's take a dive into this article. Um, the subtitle is Employees Increasingly Feel Obligated to Work During Vacation, but that comes with a cost for employers. Um, and it comes with a cost not only to the employers but also to the employee who is being impacted. And of course, as the article says, PTO is an acronym for paid time off, and it's been considered one of the most important benefits that employers offer. And I can tell you, it's still one of the most important benefits that employers offer, because when I reach out to extend offers to newly selected candidates, that is one of the main things that they want to see or know is, how often do I accrue leave time? How much do I accrue each week, each month, whatever the cadence is, and what are the holidays? And a lot of times, what we found is that when we extend offers to candidates, oftentimes, especially if it's this time of the year, they already have vacation plans, maybe a month or two or three from now, and they want to make sure that they can still go on their trip or take their planned time off, because they need to get away. And I would encourage anyone, because I made this mistake before too, do not jump immediately from one job to another. Make sure that you take at least a couple of days break between ending, working your last day on one job and going to your next job. And I would encourage that even if you're going to stay with the same organization, because when you even if you're transitioning from one area of the organization to another department or another team of the organization, remember your responsibilities are going to be different. Likely in your new position, you're likely going to be held to a higher level of accountability. And so you need to get yourself mentally and emotionally prepared and geared up for that. So just, take a little break. It doesn't have to be a long one, but I would say a minimum of 2 days to kind of decompress from your former position and just get your mind and your spirit right for starting a new position. And if you're going to be moving from one organization to the other, I would encourage that you take 3 or more days, 3 to 5 days break between the two positions, because not only are you going to likely be at a higher level of accountability in your new role, but you're going to have to learn a whole new group of people. And that takes up mental space. It can cause stress. Also, you're going to have to learn the rules and regulations of that particular organization, and you're going to have to learn your position and the role that it plays in meeting that new employer's um, mission and supporting the vision and values of that employer. So just think about that. I see too many people that they go from working one job on a Friday to working another job on their new job on a Monday. Saturday and Sunday off don't count. Especially if you're in corporate and you're working a Monday through Friday job, those 2 days don't count. Those are usual. And if you're like a lot of us, you spend at least part of those days working as well, just to get ready for the next week, to stay afloat with all of the work that's coming your way. So just some food for thought. Um, and this article acknowledges that PTO, or paid time off, or some places like my job still refers to it as annual leave, and it's the same thing as paid time off. But or we have separate categories for annual or vacation leave, and then we have another category for, well, annual and vacation leave are one and the same. We use those terms synonymous in my current organization. And then we have a separate bucket for sick time, and a separate bucket for holidays. So floating holidays and scheduled, major holidays. And but I was going to say that this article acknowledges that paid time off, annual leave, vacation leave, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most valued by employees. However, it also acknowledges that heavy workloads and an always on work culture mean many employees aren't recharging, if they're even taking time off at all. And a Harris poll, according to this um, article, a Harris poll in 2024 found that when workers do take time off, 60% of them said that they struggle to fully disconnect from work. And I'm going to tell you, from my own experience, I joined my organization in 2017, February 2017, basically 8 years ago. And I remembered my manager at the time, or my assistant vice chancellor at the time, she kept saying, I was, eager to get my hands in everything, and just, fast forward my learning my role and what its purpose was in the organization and so I remembered her telling me several times, and she had been with the organization about 20 years, and she still is with the organization. She kept saying, Cynthia, don't get caught up in the vortex, because once you do, it is real hard to get out. And I was thinking, what in the world is she talking about? And then I'll go back to her and say, do you need help with this, or can I get involved with that? And she'd say, I'm telling you, I'm giving you some time, because I don't want you to get caught up in the vortex. I know you're anxious and you want to learn everything at once and get in there and really, dig in and feeling like you're making valuable contributions. But please don't get caught up in the vortex. And still, I'm like, what in the world? Well, I soon found out. I think it was my my first 6 to 8 months. They were pretty smooth sailing. Didn't have to work a lot of, Saturdays, late nights on Fridays, or, on Sundays or anything like that. But oh my God, We were in the process, when I joined in 2017, we were in the process of migrating to a new human resources information system. And my team was responsible for making sure that we knew how the system worked, working with the project management team and the technical staff to learn all of the ins and outs of the system that HR practitioners needed to know, and developing training that we would use to um, acclimate our managers and employees to, so that they would know how to learn the system, and trying to make that transition as smooth as possible. Well, let me tell you, by my 8th month, by that, I think November or what have you, that smooth sailing was over. I was working late nights almost every night in the office. For one, at that time, we were full time in the office. And then I thought that when COVID hit and we in March of 2020 and shut everything down and we went full time remote, I thought, oh, so that's good. I'll be able to like start the time that I usually would be on the road heading into the office. I figured I would be able to easily use that time to get ahead in the mornings. I would find myself 12 midnight still sitting at my desk at home working. That made no sense. That is no type of work life balance, and I was being too sedentary, and it impacted my health. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm more aware of how much I'm sitting. I try to get up and walk around, walk around, walk around, no matter where I'm working from. So that's something to think about. And the article goes on to say that 86% of those employees polled by the Harris poll said they check emails from their boss, and 56% take work related calls. This is during their vacation. And nearly half of them said that they felt guilty about taking time off at all. And I can relate to that as well. And I've heard other people express that. One of the things that I think about, because I have such a small team and there's so much work that comes our way, um, I don't want to bog down my staff and have them feeling overwhelmed. So if something comes up I always tell them before I leave. Typically, the last thing that I tell them before I leave for supposedly vacation time off or whatever, I tell them, listen, I'll have my phone with me. If you need me, if something comes up, please don't hesitate to call or text. I would much rather you do that than to have me walk back into a quagmire on my a big mess on my first official day back into the office. Um, and this article says what most of us already know, that it's a pretty common issue. There says a therapist at mental health at Life Stance Health in Ohio, which is a mental health provider. She says that she often checks work emails and messages while she's on vacation. Um, it's a part of the new working world, but it is a very dangerous thing that we're doing to ourselves, because we're impacting our physical health, our mental health, and also our peace and our much needed time with our families. We already are with our work family, as I like to call them, more waking hours of our waking hours of each day. We're already with our work family or at our workplace, or in our work area, more of our waking hours of each day, 5 days a week at least, um, than we are with our actual families, our relatives, our spouses, romantic partners, and children, and other family members. So, if you're also working these crazy, crazy hours, and then on top of that, you can't completely check out and spend quality time with your immediate, with your family, and other loved ones who you hold dear, then it can erode at the relationship, and you don't want that. So these are some things to keep in mind to inspire all of us to continue to make little adjustments. You don't have to make a big announcement, because normally when you make a big announcement, it normally backfires on you. And I shouldn't say normally, but there are some vindictive managers out there who they feel, okay, they think that they're going to have more time off than me or whatever. Or you have coworkers who may have that mindset as well, and they may try to put stumbling blocks in your way. I think that one of the worst things a manager can do to their employees is call a meeting that begins at 5 o'clock or after. I think that especially are if they don't have like young children, or they just don't recognize that workplace meetings, in most cases, especially traditional office environments where the core work hours are between, I would say, 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., somewhere between those hours. I think it's very inconsiderate for a manager to ask their employee to attend a meeting that starts at 5 o'clock or 5:30. Now, what I did is I kind of fell into my former manager's schedule, because we live not terribly far from each other. We head in the same direction, head into the office from the same direction. And so I kind of fell into her schedule, and so we did have quite a few meetings after 5 o'clock, but that was because I was not getting there until 9 o'clock or 9:30 or whatever, and so of course I would still be working around 6. But there are times when she and I would be working on things earlier in my career there until 7 and 8 o'clock, and I still had um, a young child, because my child is just 17, and I've been at this in this position for 8 years. It'll be the end of February will be a full 8 years. So think about that. My child was around 9 years old. Thank God my husband was able to get off work usually at a decent time, and so he would end up um, picking our child up from school, or when he got a little older and we started picking him up from daycare, and or we when we started letting him go home, gave him a key and he could go home by himself and unlock the door, and go home and under the watchful eye of our neighbors across the street. And so they were a godsend, as well. And so, as managers, we need to be very mindful. I may walk by my team member's office. I may give them a quick call if there's something very important that I think that I should share with them before they leave for the day. But I try to make it a habit of not calling meetings unless it's an urgent issue at 5 o'clock, because I understand that I don't know what their plans may be. And when you, as a manager, ask your employee, is it okay for us to meet at 5:15 or 5:30? Most of us are not going to say no, even if we are as tired as a dog and are ready to get home and just want to veg out and watch some TV to decompress. So I would say, as managers, we need to be very aware, and we need to not put them in that difficult situation. So I'm going to go on and talk about this article. And one of the things that's making us an always on um, workplace is the laptop computer, remote work, um, hybrid work. For some reason, I lost my concentration, and mobile phones, mobile phones that the workplace issues to you. And so, what I have started doing, unless it is something that's really, really pressing, even when I receive text messages from people after hours, um, after 6 o'clock, typically I won't answer. I won't respond. I'll respond the next morning because I've also gotten caught in situations more than once where someone from work texted me about something, and I responded to say, "Hey, just acknowledging your message," or "Thanks for letting me know," and then they turn around and call. And it's not like I cannot answer then because they know I have my phone with me and I see that they are calling because I just responded to their text message, or their IM or what have you. And they'll turn around and call. And so what I learned the hard way is to just let it sit right there until the next day. Other thing is when you're supposed to be away from work, whether it's vacation or it's just the end of of your work day, talk to your manager and just let them know. Like for instance, my husband and I were attending a marriage communications class recently through our church, and even though they offered a remote option, we felt that we got more out of it by being on on site participants. So I would have to, since I typically get off work later, I would have to drive home. We'd jump in his car or whatever, and then we would drive to church to make this class. And so what I just decided to do was listen, I decided that this was something that was important to my marriage. And so when people ask me, do you have a minute? If it was, at 5:15 or something, I just said, "Tag, I really don't because I'm heading out to meet my husband because we have plans. We have a class we're attending," and that ended up working out really, really well. So I would encourage you, you know, also that if you have to make some adjustments, do things like sign up for a class and that's something I greatly appreciate our former vice chancellor for, that she encouraged everyone on the team, especially her direct reports who are a member of the executive staff, but she encouraged us all to engage in interest outside of work. And we have one person who, my former manager, who is a really good nature photographer. She doesn't get into taking pictures of live beings much. She will take them, but she can take some of the most beautiful um, pictures of nature, and she uses them as um, decorations to make greeting cards, and they are so so beautiful, and they have so much love and caring in them because they are um, handmade, and that the photography, the image on the front, is something that she actually um, took a photo of. And so then we have another person on the executive team who was an avid runner and has even run in the Boston Marathon and the July 1st Atlanta. Oh gosh, why am I bringing? I'm drawing a blank, but the um, Peachtree Road Race in Atlanta that's held on 4th of July every year. That actually is a qualifier for the Boston marathon. And so our vice chancellor encouraged people to, she enjoys gardening and she's left for another position within the organization, but she enjoys gardening and other things herself. And so she actually, got into that. Plus she had a young family and was married. So she made time for her family. And I greatly appreciated that. So sometimes we have to make like small changes gradually so that it is not so abrupt that anyone on your management team thinks that it's a rebellion because people are so close to, I mean, so quick to assume that, oh, they're mad and they're not working anymore, which is likely not true. You're still working, you're being productive, a productive contributor to the team, but you do need to take some time away. And so, one of the other things that I've started doing a laundry list of things that I have pending um, before I leave the office for my time off. And I have actually, since I guess late last year, have been able to actually, that first day sometimes I end up working. That's the other thing. I end up working a lot of times on that first day, tying up first day of what's supposed to be my leave. And so what I've started doing is I adjust that time off because I realized I was giving away so much time and I earned that time. And I was just giving it back. Wouldn't even bother about adjusting my time off, the time that I took off to reflect the fact that on my first day, I may have worked 4, 5, 6 hours or the entire day. And so that's another reason why I also build in a day ahead of my travel time if I'm going out of town or what have you, because usually I end up on that first day working at least 4 hours. And then I go back in the system and I adjust my time off because I haven't taken that first full day off. I've only taken 4 days off. And then later on, if I need to do something, then I'm thinking, dag, I wish I had said something or made the adjustment because now I'm digging into my remaining time and I may not be able to take all of this time off. So just think of like little subtle changes that you can make over time that can make a world of difference to you. And if you can't start off by by leaving the office on time, just making that decision to leave the office on time, then sign up for a class and pay for it and let your higher ups know that, hey, I've signed up for a class and it meets at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. And so I'm going to have to leave on time, leave by 5:30 so that I can make it to my class on time. So just something else to think about. And this article acknowledges that the lines between work and home life are more blurred um, now than in the past, and that is so true. And this comes from Paris Parker, who is the CHRO, the Chief HR Officer for Paycor, which is a human capital management software company based in Cincinnati. So, because of the new balance or imbalance in the workplace, many employees also running short errands, throwing laundry in the washing machine. And I remember I had a coworker to say during COVID when we were having a big teams meeting that she was married, but she doesn't have any children. And so she bragged how she doesn't even do laundry while she is working remotely. And she actually was proud of that, and she didn't mean any harm. But it was spoken just like a person who does not have any young children or what have you in the household. Because most of us who have children in the household, yes, we're doing laundry. Is if you're going to be spending so much of your supposed time off still working, you should be able to run a short errand every now and then. I let my manager know if I take an extended lunch break to run a short errand or what have you. I try to make sure that I'm back at home in time for a meeting. I don't hide what I'm doing, but yes, I do laundry on my remote days. Today, I'm going to be doing laundry on my remote days because that's one of the things, too, that helps me to get up and move around more instead of just sitting at my desk just constantly for hours on end. So by going ahead and doing something like getting up and taking the clothes out of the washer to put them in the dryer and then putting another load in the washing machine, that only takes, a few minutes. I actually probably should be up and moving around much longer than that takes. Or if I need to sweep, you know, a room or dust mop or something like that, then I may grab the Swiffer and do a little dusting just to make myself move my body. I'm trying to be conscious to get 250 steps. I fall short every day, pitifully short. But my goal is to do 250 steps every hour so that I can get those 10,000 um, steps in every day to try and be healthier. Um, so this goes on to say the CHRO at Paycor says that, they may throw laundry in the washing machine or head to a doctor appointment or run a short errand during the workday. And PTO is likely no different. So while some employees may view checking in on work during the vacation as the new normal, such habits can have a detrimental effect on employee well being and even lead some workers to quit working for employers that show little respect for their work life integration. And I look at some of the people at my current job, oh God, the hours that they work, and most of them, yes, they're highly paid. Individuals, relatively speaking, but at what price are they paying? Are they paying for that in health and in their personal lives, or the lack of it? And so we have to think about that. And so the um, the therapist, Nicolette Lianza, with Life Stance Mental Health in Ohio, says constant connectivity, especially during PTO, does not allow the employees to step back from their jobs to truly rest and decompress. This will more than likely lead employees to feel burnt out. I am a living witness, and stressed out, which will have a direct impact on their mental health by increasing stress and anxiety and even the potential for depression and a decreased quality of time and interactions with their loved ones in the home. And so I'm definitely aware of that because, like I said, I went through it. So, what they're asking employers to consider is that this is a lose lose situation because employees who continually feel burnt out and stressed may become more cynical about their jobs and less productive. A human being can only do so much. We are human beings after all. And a 2022 survey from software company Vizier found that employees who work during their vacation, even voluntarily, are much more likely to think about quitting their jobs. And that is very true, and actually leave their organizations than those who don't work during their time off. These findings indicate that employers should do a better job respecting the purpose of paid time off to truly disconnect and return to work refreshed. And I remember when I let my former manager know that I was, experienced burnt out and feeling that I was checking in too often and she does it too. She encouraged me to start being more mindful of when I leave, and and also the long hours of work, as well as, and she would say, I just want to check with you to see if there's anything I need to cover down on while you're out, in hopes that you will take a real vacation. Because she knew that I was not lying, that I was eating up some of my supposed scheduled time off by working during my scheduled time off. And so I greatly appreciated that from her. And now my new manager is very supportive of us checking out during time off as well, scheduled time off as well. And so, little by little, we're making some changes. And I hope that everyone has higher ups who are trying to change this narrative and encouraging people to check out and not have to feel like they have to be on at all times. So, um, this manager, I mean, the therapist says that employees need to feel comfortable advocating for themselves, and that is so true. And often look toward their managers for cues on how to do this effectively. And it's going to start with a conversation usually, and especially if you try to do little things and you see that you're still being summoned during your time off, or having to work too long hours that make you ineffective in the home and with your family. So another contributor, Mark DeBus, I guess that's how, DEBUS, who is a clinical manager of behavioral health services at Sedgwick, who that is a third-party claims administrator, says that let's see, let me find his comment. Employees normally often look toward their managers for cues on how to make the necessary adjustments effectively. If an employer truly values mental wellness in their workforce, they prioritize a work culture that supports employees and their managers taking time off. And he suggests that one way of doing this is to encourage managers and supervisors to not respond to emails when they take PTO themselves, nor text or email their employees while they're taking time off, DeBus says. And I try my best. I may call my employee maybe once, and I want to cut that out if it is something that I actually need to speak with them directly about. But again, we try to leave each other a list of things, or assign someone else on the team, a colleague, who can take over by covering down on our responsibilities while we're away from work. So if employees have a particularly difficult time disconnecting, managers may consider going a step further and blocking employees' access to their work email accounts or messages while on PTO to dissuade any possible temptation to work. And I have to remind a manager about this who recently gave birth to their first child, and she was constantly emailing. And so she's not on our team, but I'm the associate director of HR, and I saw that I was being copied on these emails, and she had just been home with her new baby less than a week. So she needed to be continuing to bond with her baby, spend time, she and her husband, with their new baby. And so I sent her an email with her manager copied on it to say, okay, new mom, you're supposed to be on leave. And so we have had to block some people's email access who can't find it possible to not work when they are on scheduled leave, which for her is not even PTO. It is her FMLA time. And so I called it to her attention. I have not gotten any more emails. And her manager jumped in and said, we should be able to handle things from here. And my employee in HR has not gotten any more emails from that manager. So I'm happy to say that she's hopefully enjoying her time away, and that we're not being a part of a disruption to that new family dynamic, as they adjust to going from being husband and wife to now being parents to a beautiful baby girl. So I hope that you have gotten value out of this from this content, And I would be interested if you would share with me, what do you do or what do you plan to do if you find yourself heading to a workplace, into workplace burnout? What adjustments are you going to make, or what adjustments have you made to have more balance between your work and personal life? So, I'm on a mission to help you live your very best career life. And so I would ask you to hit the like button if you know that this is great content that others need to know about. It'll let the algorithms know that they need to push it out to more people. And I ask you to share it with your network as well. And also, when you're ready, join my channel, subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it, and hit the notification bell so that you know that every time I release new content, you'll be among the first to be notified. And if you'd like to work with me more closely, I'll have all of those details in the description below. And also consider joining me for the new cohort of my Career Search RX coaching program. The new cohort will start on March 7th. I'll have that information in the description below as well. So until next time, I hope that you enjoy the rest of this week, and that February will start off in a very positive note for you. I'll see you for another video or my next Friday morning live next week at 7 a.m. Bye-bye.